if you are the most mass deporting, MAGA wearing, Trump loving, orange sucking person on earth, Kilmar Abrego Garcia is not a combatant, an enemy combatant, or whatever the fuck he just said.
You know what I'm saying? Drop a like, leave a comment, let me know you're in here. We finna have fun tonight.
What in, Logic's back with another one. Today we're going to watch a debate Charlie Kirk has just posted on his channel recently, a couple days ago, and I wanted to go over it because there is so telling how much of a coward Charlie Kirk is, even against some college students if they're well prepared. Now, a lot of people make jokes about him debating college students all the time, and it's not because college students are like stupid or anything, but oftentimes they're just like 18, 19, fresh into a major, probably think they have more of an understanding on topics than they really do, and they're just arguing based off their emotions, thinking it can carry them. But debate isn't about being right necessarily. It's a lot of that goes into debate. It's a skill that you have to practice and work at. You can't just think you know something and be able to articulate it to win a debate. But nonetheless, throughout this about hour 15 video, Charlie Kirk encounters a few college students. Some of them agree with him and some don't on other things. And whenever he's really confident, he will sit there and let them talk and won't cut them off or anything. But as soon as he gets challenged, there's a different type of Charlie that comes out, and the cowardice is just something that's hard to ignore. So I thought this would be a very interesting video. And for those that don't know, I am a part of the Unfuck America tour, where we are raising money to go to AmFest in Arizona in December. If you're interested in volunteering for it, you can hit the link in my description of this video. If you want to sign up to donate for the tour and anything to help us, you know, make this happen to combat Charlie Kirk and all these stupid narratives he has put out in the world, make sure you hit that link, man. And let's get into the video. I just want y'all to notice that MAGA, they wear Trump stuff year round. They like try to project the whole, yeah, you guys are a cult to the Democratic Party. Cults need a leader, and clearly Trump is their leader. Like, you're wearing Trump's merch throughout the year while he's already won president. Nobody is rocking a Biden shirt right now. Nobody is rocking a Harris shirt right now. And they probably never will unless they're just in the house and it's a shirt. But as far as MAGA goes, it's like this undying loyalty is just scary to the point where it's like, this is your president. It's not like you're a fan of your president, I guess.
I believe Trump is antithetical to everything American, whether that is him abusing powers, going against the Constitution. I mean, mainly those two things. His foreign policy, national policy is obviously all pretty atrocious. But if you want to talk about him abusing executive powers, I'd like to talk about that. Specifically in reference to the Mayor Adams case, where he's dropping the charges without prejudice.
Go ahead.
Is that not a blatant form of corruption that he's extorting? How
he said no.
Dropping a charge without prejudice on a mayor that got federally indicted, not corrupt.
It happens all the time.
It happens all the time. He had to stop himself because it's like, what do you mean it happens all the time? No, the fuck it doesn't.
Indicted, not corrupt.
It happens all the time.
I know what you're talking about.
But I mean, the charges were political in nature. President Trump got targeted by the Department of Justice. He goes out of his way to also show lawfare.
Look at the deflection. The charges were political in nature. No, they weren't. He was being charged with like corruption. Not charged with corruption, but he was misusing funds. He was misusing funds as mayor. And if there's credible evidence, we need to look into it. What do you mean it was all political? And now he's finna say stuff they did to Trump, even though fucking Trump was found convicted, and he was convicted of 34 felonies once, and he was probably gonna get convicted on the documents case. But now since he's president, he won't be charged for it.
Fair goes out.
And January 6th had a strong case too.
For both parties, and drops the charges against a Democrat mayor, Eric Adams.
Doesn't that show you that people on the left don't give a fuck what side you are on if you're committing a crime? You're a Democrat, man. Motherfucker, we don't care if he's doing something illegal. Get his ass. Ain't nobody caping because he's a Democrat.
Dropping charges without prejudice happens all the time. Biden did it for a lot of cases that the Trump administration had. If we
name it. Name the case. He's probably lying.
Want to talk abuse of power? Maybe we should talk about how Joe Biden pardoned his entire family the last hour.
Maybe we should talk about why he pardoned his entire family. You think he did that just for the fuck of it? Or did Trump and his cronies put it out that they were going to seek revenge on everybody involved with January 6th, or anybody that he doesn't like was going to get investigated, and Biden had to play the game dirty? How come every time we hold the mirror up to MAGA, they're enraged? Gavin Newsom is tweeting like Trump, this is stupid. Why are you doing this? To carry yourself better. Oh, Biden, why are you pardoning your family? Trump pardoned all the January 6ers, and he threatened his family to investigate them for no fucking reason. And what's happening now? Left and right, he's suing people that are Democrats for no fucking reason. He's firing them for no fucking reason. Like, what are we talking about?
Of his presidency, how Joe Biden pardoned Anthony Fauci preemptively and Adam Kinzinger preemptively.
All these people were being threatened by Donald Trump. And he wouldn't have done any of that if Trump didn't do that. And once we realized how crazy Trump was to actually do it, this is what happened.
Liz Cheney preemptively and Adam Schiff preemptively. Not that Donald Trump's DOJ dropped charges against Eric Adams. Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's still corrupt. Even if you want to call what Biden did corrupt, I don't give a fuck. But don't act like, if that's the case, if you're going to name all that, you have to also say that what he did for Eric Adams was also corrupt. You can't just say that's not, but this is.
Is the one that had to preemptively pardon his brother and his entire crime syndicate with the stroke of a pen the last hour of his presidency. If anybody is abusing power, it would be the prior president who didn't even know he was president, not Donald Trump.
Okay, so, I mean, you kind of pivoted there, but I will acknowledge what Joe Biden did.
Kinda. No, he pivoted, bro.
Probably a corrupt abuse of actions. I would say abuse of power. But you also have to acknowledge Donald Trump is also abusing power in the same instant.
Yep.
How?
This is crazy. You cannot do a whataboutism without actually copping to what the first presented argument was. If you're going to say that, oh, this is corrupted, this is corrupted, this is corrupt. Okay, if I say it is, are you going to admit that this is too? You can't just no, you can't just ignore it. He's like, how is that corrupt? But what Joe Biden did isn't. Bro, he fucking pardoned dude to play ball with him, to let them come in and do whatever they want to New York with immigration.
Because you keep saying that.
Because yes, he's extorting him because he's now letting ICE run jurisdiction in Rikers Island. Which Mayor Adams signed an executive order letting ICE go back into Rikers Island.
Okay, so what are your facts? Where are the documents? Where are the first-hand, original source?
Where's all the documents? Where's the evidence of the cases that Joe Biden, what did he say? Joe Biden dropped charges on people and stuff, his DOJ. Where's that evidence? You see how he's like, oh, give me all the evidence. Give me all the facts of the things that I know I can't argue against because you're not going to be able to give me the exact date these people were, the date he signed the executive order or the name or the verbiage of it.
Testimony that showed there's an extortion at play. That's a huge accusation.
So Emile Beauvais even said himself, the Deputy Attorney General, that he's dropping these charges not based off any evidence, but it would be because it would interfere with his mayor duties. I don't know why we should drop federal charges on someone that for mayor interfering with mayor duties. That doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, but you would acknowledge I'm confused on why you don't think this is corrupt. Him federally dropping federal charges.
Because it's not corrupt. Again,
it's not corrupt. I cannot believe he just tried to name all that stuff about Joe Biden pardoning everybody that Donald Trump was threatening, but won't say it's corrupt that they fucking dropped the charges on Eric Adams so they can run loose with what they want to do with immigration in New York.
Both parties.
I mean, but
so
you would agree what Joe Biden did is corrupt, but not Trump?
No. What
right.
One was pardoning your family for the first time in American history. The other one is inherit.
So, just because it's the first time in American history, ain't y'all the same people like just because something happened for the first time doesn't mean it's wrong? Y'all say that with all these first things that Trump has done, just because he pardoned his family. For pardon his family for the first time, is that necessarily? If y'all have a problem with pardon, say that. Like, if that's what you need to say.
Inheriting a sloppy, politically targeted case of the Department of Justice.
How is it sloppy? It's funny to look at the lengths they'll go through. He's even defending a Democrat because Trump is involved. The lengths that these people go to.
And dismissing those charges.
But they said they're not dropping it based on the case of the evidence. They're not dropping it based on any type of evidence.
You can drop based on, again, That's one deputy attorney general's interpretation. But why don't
Pam
you tell
Bondi
me?
too.
Why don't you tell me what Eric Adams was charged with?
For bribery, I believe misuse of funds. He defrauded New York for $5 million.
Yeah, like taking international flights on Turkish Airlines. I mean, it was like this insane case.
I mean, you're downplaying it, but
Of
that
course
is
I am. Because let's be honest, why is it that Eric Adams was indicted?
because he got caught of committing federal
No,
crime.
because
It's
Eric
not-
Adams was the only
No.
blue state mayor in the country to speak out
Everything is
against Biden's mass migration invasion.
everything is a conspiracy. Like, come the fuck on. No, it's because fuck the fact that he actually got caught misusing funds as mayor, taking flights he shouldn't have. Fuck that. That's not why he got indicted. He got indicted because he spoke out against Biden's immigration. Like, get the fuck out of here. This is stupid.
And they used Eric Adams as an example.
And even if
to try to
that,
say if
let's
you
say
dare-
if that is the case, why wouldn't it behoove Trump to let his ass get locked up and then they could just run roughshod in New York? What would they? Then they'll be scrambling for a mayor and shit like that. Why not just let him? Why not let him get? He's another Democrat. You can lock up a dirty. Wouldn't it make sense to be like, look at this Democrat. He's so filthy. Look at this is what the Democrats do. They misuse funds, and then they could just say Democrats are bad, and then they could do what they want in New York.
dare step out of line against the 10 million people that come across the southern border, we will come against you. But how is it an abuse of power to do what the Department of Justice is constituted to do?
Because this isn't based off any.
Obviously, you can drop charges, dickhead. The point is he's dropping the charges to make him do what he wants to do, even though there's no real reason to drop the charges if there's credible evidence of what he's done.
Evidence. This is a federal indictment. Obviously, if you want to make the distinction that he tried, his immigration policy could be reflective of why he got charged, that is only speculation. There'd be zero proof in that. What we do know is that
of course it's not
Mayor Adams did
speculation,
go
but
to
I mean-
Mar-a-Lago, and then, 3 days later, he got the charges dropped on him without prejudice? And if it was corrupt, why is he dropping without prejudice? Why wouldn't he just drop the charges or pardon him?
Do you know what without prejudice
Yeah,
means?
they can bring the charges back.
Obviously,
that's actually-
right. And that means there's probably a reason, because he probably will get indicted, but they like, no, we're going to keep you out for now so you could play ball with us for now. And after that, we don't give a fuck about you. And that's all Eric Adams could take. But with prejudice, without prejudice, that means that nigga probably did the shit.
Exactly.
It's even a lower grade
no,
of it,
that
which
goes to-
means that if there's more evidence, then they could reintroduce charges.
But
so
they're
they didn't do it with prejudice.
But it's not based off the evidence.
We know
I'm
that.
interested though.
We
So
know
out of
that.
all the examples you could use, you think Donald Trump's corrupt and abuse of power?
Look how he's not comfortable with this. So he said, this is this man's argument. You like, out of all the things you can say about Trump, this is what you want to bring up, because he's not comfortable in it. And he has not admitted that that's corrupt yet. That's crazy.
Because he has dropped the politically charged motivation
No, we
of
can
the
go
mayor of
to-
the largest state in the country.
We can go to him improperly using tariffs, calling national emergencies on Canada. He said there's a fentanyl crisis in Canada. There absolutely is.
No, there's fentanyl
Right.
crisis in our country
Yeah,
coming
but
from Canada.
But he's saying
It's not a crisis of it coming from Canada.
it's happening at the northern border. That's how he's able to unilaterally
is.
accept.
It's
So,
not. I swear to God, it's just like if Trump says it, they just like, yeah, that's a fact.
Do you
It's a
believe
fact,
his?
actually.
Okay. Do you believe him implementing tariffs is him executing his economic policy or national policy?
Well, national security, both. Yeah.
Or do you think? I mean, you would agree that if you're going to try stopping fentanyl from coming in the country, you would at least give them a target number to get to.
He did.
hasn't provided anything.
No, he did. That's
no,
not
what was
correct.
the number?
Well, actually, it was privately discussed because you don't know that, but that's
Okay.
fine.
Oh my God, he just couldn't say the number. It was no number. It was no number. It was no target. No, it wasn't. It was discussed privately. If you don't know. Oh, this guy is so full of shit.
Fine, it was privately
Oh,
discussed.
what's the number? What is he?
I'm
What
not
are,
going to tell you the number,
Okay,
but I
I
happen
mean-
to know it.
No,
But,
you
like, again, there was
don't.
a benchmark that Canada was given in
You
the
don't know
intermediary
it.
period, Canada and Mexico. And by the way, do you know how many people die from drug overdoses every year in America?
a lot. That's
Well
not
over-
what I'm
Now,
not.
How about wait? Look at this Gish Gallop. It's like, yeah, you know how many people die from drugs, bro? We don't. That is not the fucking point. He didn't even say there's no fentanyl coming into the country. He said the northern border is not the issue of where these drugs are coming in. So for him, do you know how? Look, Charlie just trying to go fucking appeal to people's emotions now because he's finna lose on this argument again.
Actually, it is what you're asking.
No, it's not what he's asking. Don't tell him what he's. No, he's not. He is not talking about people dying.
Here in America,
a lot. That's
well
not what I'm.
No, actually, it is what you're asking.
Look,
Hold on a second. It's absolutely what it is. It's 110,000 people die from drug
Bro,
overdose.
it's not. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be insensitive and say we don't give a fuck. But that is not what this conversation is about. That is not what the problem is and what he's saying. He didn't even say the drug isn't coming across the border. It's about him lying about it coming from Canada like it's some rampant issue, and it is not.
Overdoses, and a lot of people in South Carolina die from drug overdoses. That's a national security problem. When you have drugs flowing from a
all these different types have been coming across the country for fucking decades, bro. And this is just a newer one that's becoming a problem that can be addressed, but that doesn't make it a quote unquote crisis. Needing, especially if you're going to try to fix it, putting tariffs. That's just stupid.
foreign country into your nation, and you use tariffs as a way to stop it.
Tariffs is not stopping that. Why would tariffs stop that? It's not like the drugs are being tariffed when they come across. So what is the tariff thing going to do?
States. And President Trump was elected to do that.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're just talking about problems. 99.8% of the fentanyl that comes in this country does not come from the northern border.
Yep.
The same way he's enacting national emergencies on all the countries to implement his tariffs across the world.
Well, just to be clear, the Canadian tariffs were also because more people on the terrorist watch list come across the northern border than the southern border. So it was fentanyl plus the terrorist watch list come
across the world.
Well, just to be clear, the Canadian tariffs were also because more people on the terrorist watch list come across the northern border than the southern border. So it was fentanyl plus the terrorist watch list. But then you would agree the Mexican tariffs are great because almost all the fentanyl in this country come across the southern border from Mexico.
I would say you have more of a case, but I believe why Trump is enacting these tariffs is clear for his economic policy. That's probably pretty corrupt. Him revoking constitutional rights is also pretty corrupt.
Wait, hold on. What constitutional rights is he revoking?
The Fifth Amendment.
I was going to say the Fifth Amendment. I think the 14th Amendment.
On who? For what U.S. Wait, hold on. What constitutional rights is he revoking?
The Fifth Amendment, First Amendment.
On who?
First.
For what U.S. citizen?
Yeah.
No,
First.
What U.S. citizen does not
Look at Charlie trying to make this distinction that doesn't exist. Look how he's trying to make a distinction that does not exist. For U.S. citizens, because he knows exactly what's coming when the language is clear. It is not about just being a U.S. citizen because they say U.S. citizen when it's needed and they say person when it isn't.
Amendment.
On who? For what U.S. citizen?
Yeah.
No, what U.S. citizen does not have Fifth Amendment rights?
Okay, so you would agree
How
that
he's trying to frame the argument when that's not the argument. That's not the language in the Constitution.
other people inside the United States, like lawful permanent residents, are also getting their green cards. Also getting their Fifth Amendment revoked.
Yes, but green card holders don't get the same constitutional rights.
Do.
No, they do not.
Hold on,
if an MS-13 member is in jail, they don't get Fifth Amendment rights.
Garcia is not an MS-13 member. That was all hearsay.
Oh, no.
Okay, so they're about to talk about Kilmar Abreu Garcia. Just so y'all know, this video is old. So there's more updated information that we have now today in August. But this is old. This is before, I think it was before he got sent to it might have been around when he got sent to the prison or whatever. But yeah, so it's going to be outdated information.
No, hold on a second. He was already charged for it in court documents.
No.
He's been here for 10 years. He tried to evade, and he actually is back in his home country of El Salvador in a much different type of environment.
Think about how evil these people are. The boy came here as a child because his mom's business was being ravaged by a gang, and for his safety, she sent him here. And he's been here for like 10 to 14 years or something. Has a family. He's been working. Had a couple run-ins with the law, checking in with immigration, fucking working. Like, why are y'all bothering this man?
That the judge, Trump is literally ignoring judges' orders. He got a withholding for removal, correct?
Well, hold on.
Maryland.
Tension between...
And a withholding from removal is a higher standard than even asylum. So, what the fuck?
The second and third branch is nothing new. But explain to me how a circuit court judge, a federal judge, a district court judge has jurisdiction about what happens over international waters. Explain that to me.
No, I'm not even talking about the TROs that was implemented. I'm talking specifically about the Maryland case. How?
No, the Maryland case is that. So they scoop this guy up. They send him to El Salvador. How does a guy, a district court judge, have jurisdiction when happens international waters?
You're referring to Boasberg. I'm not. I'm talking about the Maryland judge that gave him withholding for removal. They violated that completely.
They violated
They took him out out of
Hold
Maryland.
on, no, you have to answer the question. The guy's in El
because-
Salvador now.
Yeah, I know. But
So
you're
then how
referring
does
to
that
Bo's-
judge have any
you're
jurisdiction over
referring-
that?
You fucking dickhead. He shouldn't have went to El Salvador. That's the problem. That is the problem. And if y'all are okay with this is the same problem why people say, like, the reason we want due process and people to do things the way that they're supposed to be done is because what's going to stop him from sending you to whatever country he wants and then being like, oh, well, I ain't got no jurisdiction for them over there. Like, it's just like, it's ridiculous. He had an order withholding. You can't, it's literally said, don't send him to El Salvador. Literally. Do not send him to El Salvador.
Because you're referring to Boasberg implementing the
No,
TROs.
they're both.
I mean,
No, I'm not.
if you're gonna talk about him,
This Maryland judge just ordered the
He-
return of this guy in El Salvador. Yes.
yes, that's true.
Okay. Yeah. So how does that judge have jurisdiction?
I'm not even referring to that. I'm referring to 2019, way before where he was granted withholding for removal. Correct?
Okay. I'm not familiar. I'm not as familiar with that.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with that. Yeah, you fucking idiot. That's what he keeps trying to tell you.
He was granted withholder for removal, and then what is it? The ICE agents took him and deported him.
I
that is completely
I do have to
contrary.
take a step back. Do you guys see how far the left fights for MS-13
I'm
members?
not.
And
Wait, no.
Will you shut the and look, you see what when he's losing an argument, let me appeal to people's emotions. Let me just say some shit that's irrelevant to the argument. Again, he's never been found to this day to be an MS-13, and they kept saying it. Oh, he's an MS-13, he's an MS-13, he's an MS. That was never proven. It was never proven.
No.
You are fighting for that because
No, this is about the Constitution. He brought it up as a constitutional argument. He didn't bring it up to say we should keep Kelmar Abrego Garcia, even though he's MS-13, because he was here since he was 10. That wasn't the argument.
Constitutional rights, not MS-13
Hold on a second.
members.
These
Exactly.
These
They absolutely
illegals do not have the same constitutional rights we
They
do.
a-
They don't vote. They don't get vote. They don't get
That we ain't talking about voting, motherfucker. We talking about due process.
vote. They can't buy firearms. They don't get the same due process. You broke our laws to come into this country. You don't get the same rights as a U.S. citizen,
They are
especially if you are part of MS-13.
No, that's not even true. First of all, being in a gang isn't illegal on its face. Secondly, he ain't in the gang. Third, he gets due process.
Especially if you are part
All
of an
this
enemy
fucking emotional pleading to the fucking crowd is
occupying
ridiculous.
force.
No.
And what I find, and again, this is a left-wing tactic to try to slow down the deportation effort, try to make saying, well, we need to have human rights.
Well, he brought it up because he feels like the Constitution is being violated, but now you're talking about keeping MS-13 members.
For all the
Ignore the argument at heart. Let me say the bullshit to obfuscate the real problem.
people that are coming here. Where were the human rights for the student at University of South Carolina that was just killed? Or the human rights of Laken Riley that was just killed at University of Georgia? And
Justice was carried out for those things that happened.
the left is intentionally trying to make permanent the enemy occupation of our land, trying to use our own customs against us for people that have never cared about our customs altogether. It is a giant scam, and I hope the deportations continue at great pace.
Once again, my point was not about me caring for illegal immigrants, MS-13 members, gang members. It was strictly on constitutional rights. There has been no case law to say that illegal immigrants don't deserve Fifth Amendment rights or First Amendment rights, which are clearly being revoked. You would agree that he's not getting due process, correct?
No, there absolutely is case law. You
Wait,
can
what case-
repel an invasion.
What is it?
No,
So,
yeah,
What are we talking about? One person? What do you mean repel an invasion? We're talking about one person. And name the now. If you're gonna say there is case law, you cannot just. You have to present it. You can. It's so specific. You have to be like, yes, there's case law that I can point to that shows that this is due process. What's the case law?
Process,
Watch.
correct?
No, there absolutely is case law. You
Wait,
can
what case-
repel an invasion.
No,
If a nation invades,
See how he keeps talking? He keeps talking now because he realized he fucked up by saying there is case law. Didn't name it. Now he's finna just make a point that's unrelated to what we're talking about. He's about to say invading other countries invading or some shit.
are you allowed to repel an invasion?
No,
If a nation invades you, are you allowed to repel them, shoot them? Are you allowed to do that? Or do you have to stop every person that invades you and say, well, you have a right to speak and a right to an attorney?
A nation invading you versus a person that has been here for over 10 years with an order of withholding that said don't send them to El Salvador, get sent to El Salvador anyway. Violating somebody's constitutional rights that is in the territory of the U.S. You're comparing that to what you sound like is like a fucking violent attack of foreigners to the country and comparing that when, first of all, invasions and war have totally different standards than just like a regular legal judiciary response to something. You don't just there's rules of engagement to war too. But obviously a prisoner of war, like if you have somebody captured in war that's invading your country, you don't give them due process in the same way as somebody that murders somebody in America that's not at war. War has a different. You don't subject a foreigner that's invading your country at war to the legal proceedings of America. That's not what happens. And for you to compare that is the most disingenuous shit you could do.
Attorney, these are enemy combatants on our land.
Kilmar is not an enemy combatant on our land. Like, even if you are the most mass deporting, MAGA wearing, Trump loving, orange sucking person on earth, Kilmar Abrego Garcia is not a combatant, an enemy combatant, or whatever the fuck he just said.
You don't have to all of a sudden give them a lawyer.
I mean, if you just don't like American law, that's fine. But
No.
Yes, yeah. Please, Charlie. Yes, you don't like American law.
Here.
I mean,
Are enemy combatants on our land. You don't have to all of a sudden give them a lawyer.
I mean, if you just don't like American law, that's fine. But people under the jurisdiction of the United States.
If someone invades America, what are we allowed to do?
Stop saying someone invades. That's not what's happening.
You're allowed to deport them. Absolutely.
No. Forget deporting them. I'm talking about like invasion.
What would you consider an invasion? Are you talking about coming over here with guns?
Like, that's interesting.
Exactly.
MS-13 is a state.
Right.
Why do you keep talking about MS-13? Like, excuse me, I'm sorry. We know this is old, and I don't even know. He'll probably say it to this day that he was MS-13. Maybe not. But the fact that they were just saying he's MS-13 and it was never proven is, in fact, they said he wasn't part of a gang. Like, as far as what was the most credible information we got is that he wasn't in a gang. It was somebody lying on him and saying he was in a state that he's never been to.
A state-sponsored narco-terrorist organization from the government of Venezuela. This is not just a bunch of moms carrying babies. These are military-aged men that were previously in jail that were here with the intent to sow discord and crime and hurt the American people. Therefore, they are an enemy force on our land.
Fair, but Garcia wasn't. You can acknowledge that.
No, he was.
He absolutely.
No, he
was.
wasn't.
It was completely hearsay. Marco Rubio and Caroline Levitt have both lied about that.
Okay,
it was complete hearsay. And to be clear, so for the 260 other people that have not got due process, you were fine with Trump invoking the Aliens Enemies Act to revoke them of due process.
Yeah, it should be 26,000 of them.
So
and they're illegals. Again, by the way, this should send a message to the rest of the world.
Even if they are here illegally, you don't send them to prison. Like, deportation isn't supposed to be a punishment necessarily. You don't send people that came here illegally to prison.
How do we know where they're illegal?
Because they don't have proper documentation. Where's your passport?
But they weren't given due process.
I don't have one.
Exactly. You're saying that, but we haven't seen that play out in any court. He said, how do you know they're illegal? Because they don't have the proper identification. He said, but where was their due process to even know that information? You can't just strip it away. That's probably the exact reason they said any person and not just citizens, because you can really you could play with that. You could play with that how you want to, and then nobody ever has to answer for their actions if we don't see it play out and it's proven that this person shouldn't be here. If you just send them off and say they're not supposed to be here. And I don't know why these people don't understand that. This leaves room for them to grab anybody, send them off, and say they ain't supposed to be here. That's why it's a person and not just citizens.
You see, that's not true. Due process is a completely different thing of actually how these flights were loaded up. They went through scrupulous detail of every single individual. They had their identity.
No, they didn't. He says that, but he doesn't believe it. That didn't happen.
Printed them. They double-checked them with
Not
their
everybody.
country of origin. And then they say, hey, are you a citizen? They say no. Can we look at
Because we've seen the mistakes.
the database? There was an incredible amount of precision that went into this. But if you believe the media's lie, that, oh, they just scooped up a bunch of random 260 people on the side of the street. Just so we're clear, the people on this flight were accused of raping children, These are people. Yes, they are. No, that's
I
100%
know,
true.
I know, true. But I'm not even making that argument.
No,
You're trying to get to a morality argument.
No.
I'm talking strictly from
Right, like he keeps trying to appeal to these moral things and like these people's emotions. These people are rapists, and actually, okay, well that deportation in particular, I'm not gonna say. I was gonna say generally they've deported more non-criminals than criminals to date.
the American Constitution, right? Because I'm not even.
Where in the U.S. Constitution does it say those rights and privileges are applicable to people that come to your land illegally?
It gives credence to every person in the jurisdiction of the United States.
Yeah, but not if they're uninvited, and that goes back to the
absolutely.
That goes back to the 14th Amendment argument that if you come into our land illegally, you're not given the same rights as those that are able to that just break in. I do have to ask a question though,
yeah,
which is why the fight suddenly for the MS-13 members?
It's not MS-13 members. Once again,
Exactly. Like, what is the fight for MS-13 members? Because nobody's talking about MS-13 members. He's talking about violating the Constitution.
The United States, right? This is for America, not for. I don't care. Like even the people that murder people, they just still do. Deserve a right
just
to a
be
trial.
consistent. Did you speak up at all the last 4 years when American citizens that were January 6th defendants didn't have any of their constitutional rights? Were you out there going to open mics advocating for them?
I mean, I'm not aware.
No, answer the question.
Yeah, okay. So
were you fighting for American citizens that were given no pretrial detention, no attorney or representation? Were you out there fighting for the Constitution, or do you only fight for MS-13?
You're fucking this nigga. Look at y'all. See how desperate he is. You see how desperate he is.
Members when it's politically convenient.
Yeah, no. So
no, answer the question.
Absolutely. What if everything you said is true? I would absolutely be against
that.
No,
did you? No, did you?
I'm not even aware of it. So
exactly.
That's not exactly.
That's the point.
I just agree with
He shouldn't have let him do that because he knows that those people get due process is not the fucking same.
Greatest deprivation of constitutional rights that we saw from the federal government of our own citizens, and then out of nowhere, all these groups
got
that
due process
wouldn't be found for 4 years, then they lift a finger when moms went into the U.S. Capitol and said a prayer with their pocket constitution on their purse.
Who? They always say that and they can't name a single person. There's, these people, I know people that just walked in and walked out and got 18 years. No, they can't. There's not a single person that they can name. It was only a few hundred, a few thousand people that even got arrested for this shit. And that sounds like a lot, but it's not. It shouldn't be hard to name them because DJ Rodriguez is one of the proper one of the easiest people I can name off the top of my head that fucking drove a stun gun into the neck of a police officer and was convicted and got pardoned. Name this person that got some harsh time for going in the Capitol and saying a prayer. Name them. You should be able to name them if it's that fucking deep. Y'all are lying.
Were thrown into federal jail. All of a sudden, all these advocacy
I am 99% certain that somebody that walked into the Capitol, said a prayer, and walked out and was thrown into jail.
Sue the federal government.
Did he say for years?
Into federal jail.
Federal jail. Yeah, they ain't going to no federal jail.
With their pocket constitution on their
and
purse.
even if that is the case, they still had no business in the Capitol at that point in time.
Were thrown into federal jail. All of a sudden, all these advocacy groups come and sue the federal government. Over people that have raped children, but we're silent over American patriots and veterans that went into the people's house non-violently and said a prayer. The hypocrisy is stunning.
Wait, what? No, first off, I'm agreeing. I'm consistent on that. I agree.
No, but you didn't. The point. I'm not trying to criticize you. It's interesting what warrants the advocacy is what I'm getting. Is that all of a sudden we're all like big fans of the Constitution and due process, but the due process for all the other people that did not have the last 4 years was completely radio silence.
To be clear, I'm 20, so I've been 16 back then. So
well, fine.
I'm just.
But you're not even aware. It's not your point. Let me just offer you some grace. It's not necessarily even your fault. It's the propaganda machine.
No, okay.
The propaganda machine that makes this whole thing there's this Maryland father and all this. Meanwhile, we saw thousands of people.
What? Like, can I not wait? Sorry. Can I not make the same point about the J6ers that invaded the Capitol that they don't deserve due process for invasion?
Many of them didn't get due process.
Okay, I mean, so why would you be against that?
No, of course I'm for it, but they're U.S. citizens. That's the distinction. Secondly, they didn't get due process. And thirdly, all the left-wing groups that are now suing Trump, they wouldn't lift a finger to go help any of the J6ers.
I mean, that's hypocrisy, sure. But
no, it's worse than hypocrisy. It's hierarchy. The left.
Why the fuck would anybody help J6ers when they went to court and was found guilty and then sentenced for whatever they've done? That is the process playing out the way it should. It's not grabbing them all up, throwing them in jail, and locking away the key. That's not what happened. You always say it, but you have no proof of it, ever.
Left-wing groups basically say it's more morally acceptable to come into this country and rape children. We'll fight for you than it is to walk into the U.S. Capitol and say a prayer if you wear a MAGA hat. That is basically the message that the left-wing activist legal community is sending right now.
I don't know why you keep like jumping around. I'm trying specifically about the Fifth Amendment. Do you know specifically where in the Fifth Amendment it gives the carve-out where illegal immigrants or illegal citizens don't have the Fifth Amendment rights? Where's the carve-out for that?
It's a generally accepted...
This is a genuinely accepted bullshit. The language is very fucking clear in the Constitution. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Please, Charlie, stop with the nonsense. Person.
Principle.
Under what case law?
Well, under plenty of... I would have to look up the specific case law.
I personally have. There has been zero case law that cites illegal immigrants. I mean, was it Miranda versus Arizona itself? That was under illegal immigrant.
Under the Enemy Invasions Act, so upon the declaration of an invasion, which President Trump signed on day one, right?
Yeah.
If you notice and recognize an invading force, so let me ask you a question. If all of a sudden China or Russia showed up with a bunch of tanks on our southern border, do we have to give all those people in tanks due process? Or are we able to shoot them?
Yeah, you're able to shoot them.
Okay, then why can't we do the same for MS-13 on our border? And we're actually being nicer than shooting them. We're sending back to their country of origin.
I'm not talking about MS-13. Once again, I'm talking about specific people that are not given due process. I mean, it's not like
we're talking in circles.
No, you're just avoiding the real conversation. That's the problem, sir.
I mean, you're conflating
it. But they are an invading combatant force.
No, they're not. The MS-13, even if he was MS-13, MS-13 is not invading America and being a combatant force. This is nonsense, bro.
Act is completely unconstitutional the way he's using it.
Why?
Because he's giving people, he's writing, shipping people away without due process. The same way the INA was used for Mahmoud Khalil. Completely unconstitutional.
No, it's totally constitutional.
Absolutely not. I don't understand how you can deport someone based off their First Amendment right.
Okay, but again, they are not a U.S. citizen. They are not afforded the same U.S. rights, the same rights that we are.
Though, correct? Lawful permanent resident.
Can they vote?
No, they can't.
Can they own a gun?
Nobody said anything about none of that. We're talking about due process. That's what they're entitled to because they're a person. We ain't talking about voting or buying guns, nigga.
Can't.
Or is the government allowed to quarter soldiers in their home?
Absolutely not, no.
Okay, well, the point being is, like, at some point you don't have the same rights that we do.
I mean, you said hoarding, so I mean, that's against the Third Amendment. I don't know.
Right. The point being they don't get the same rights that we do.
Well, no. They do absolutely get the same rights. It's the way it's applied.
You just acknowledge they can't buy a gun.
Because, I mean, you would agree felons in the United States would constitutionally not have the same rights we have, right?
Some of them, yes, for a temporary period. But, yes, the point being is that you do something to earn that distinction.
No, it gets revoked under a certain, I believe you have to...
So let me ask you a question. Okay. So do you think we should deport people that are here illegally?
Yes.
So what would a due process look like? Because how it works now, you get a court date in 18 months, and we would deport maybe a couple thousand people.
Okay. I mean, that's just American law. I mean, I don't know why you're so shocked at that.
No.
If you want to
just so you guys understand what that means.
You have a fascist king that you
this
like.
is the left-wing conspiracy unfolding in front of your eyes.
He keeps appealing to the crowd because he knows he's losing.
Let me explain it to you. Well, they'll say, oh, okay, we have to give everyone due process, and that means the deportations you voted for that you want will never happen because left-wing judges will slow this thing down to a grinding halt. When it is so clear and evident that these people are here illegally and they have invaded the country and committed crimes and they should return back to their country of origin. The failure to do that means you're no longer a country.
If you want to increase in federal judges, you can make that case, but you're not even advocating for that. You just want to supersede due process, anything in the Constitution because you don't like illegal immigrants, right? Like that's just.
Well, it's not a matter of I don't like it. The people voted for it. Like this is a basic democratic value. Do the people get what they voted for, or do a bunch of unelected judges slow down the will of the people?
Yeah,
unelected judges, like everybody that doesn't do what Trump wants is just they're unelected, they're partisan, they're left wing. It's so exhausting.
I mean, would you be for if the majority of people voted to overdo the Constitution?
No, of course not.
Wait, so why? Why?
So,
it's the will of the people.
Because it's the will of the people, exactly.
For something righteous and good. It's not.
Wait, so why? Why? It's the will of the people.
Because when the will of the people vote for something righteous and good, of which this is.
Oh, so it has to be righteous and good.
Of course it does.
According to who, motherfucker? Like, according to you?
Determines what's righteous and good.
Exactly.
Exactly. Western morality, the scriptures.
This is pathetic. Western morality and scriptures. This is fucking pathetic.
We go back to the root cause of the West.
But that's extremely subjective, though.
No,
correct?
Exactly.
it's not. It's
Yes, it
unilaterally
is.
Objective.
No,
It's not. Charlie doesn't know what objective means. Hey, he has no fucking idea. While he presents himself to be this intellectual, he has no idea what objective and subjective means.
What was the agreed upon moral principle the United States was
Agreed upon is still subjective.
formed on?
Not sure.
Yeah, it was the Bible. It was Western morality. Western morality of do not murder, do not steal, you can't touch kids. You're not.
That's not even that's not even one of the commandments, right? Why are you like those are things we agreed upon, and those things aren't agreed upon across the world. Well, you are, to be fair, he's saying Western, but that doesn't, just because it's Western don't make it objectively correct. That's not what that means.
You're not allowed to break into a country without invite or warrant, and if you do, you'll return back to your country of origin. At some
How the fuck is that Western morality? Like,
point, we get back to a truth claim,
So,
and
I
the
mean-
American people overwhelmingly voted for something.
Are you a theocrat, or do you believe?
and the American people overwhelmingly did not vote for something. He didn't even get half of the fucking votes. Why are they still lying about that? More people voted for somebody that was not Donald Trump.
No, I believe. Do you believe in separation of morality and state?
I believe, yeah.
You believe in separation of morality and state?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of dictate
Really?
laws based off of morality.
No, you just said separation of morality
I
and
mean,
state.
just because we dictate it based off of morality, I mean,
No one believes in separation of morality and state. Every
you
law
mean?
is a reflection of some morality. Every single law.
yeah, I know it's a reflection, but I mean, you can have someone unilaterally just like say what their morality is, and
Yes,
then we
of course. And
yeah, that's a separation.
no, but separation of church and
I mean,
state's not
just-
even in the U.S. Constitution. It's a whole separate issue.
Okay,
I'm
well,
not
I
going to
mean,
get into that.
I mean, I was just asking if you believed in that, but
But yeah, just
Or
getting
you're a
down to it,
theocrat.
and I have to get to the next question.
Sure.
We are not going to allow orderly deportations to be thwarted by a group of district court judges that nobody voted for and thwart the will of the people to return our homeland back to native-born American citizens. Thank you so much.
all right.
As y'all can see, Charlie is just full of shit. Like, it's just so weak. He kept trying to divert the conversation to somewhere he felt safe, trying to moralize everything, trying to plead to his audience. When dude strictly was up there talking about the Constitution, he wasn't up there trying to moralize anything. He was literally talking about why Donald Trump stands against everything America stands for, and Charlie Kirk knew that was them was waters he was not willing to test. But man, if you made it to this point in the video, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub. If not one, then all three. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Peace.